Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Oh my god, it's another delightful, spiffing, shiny, and slightly moist episode of Hotfix.
Pre-laser focused.
Premature laser focused. I think it's probably the probably no, not premature. That sounds wrong. As always,
Isn't it premature?
No, premature.
Are you American now? Premature.
I thought pre was us and pre was them.
Premature.
Is it pre?
Oh my god, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I very rarely use the word pre.
I wouldn't take any advice off me because, like, listen, I wouldn't take any advice off me because, like, our entire family calls our mothers, unless we're not calling them mothers, mom, which is the American way of saying
that is absolutely American.
Mom. Like when I was a kid, Mom, I need the toilet. I'll probably still shout that now, to be fair. Moving on.
We all know that traditional British families call their mum Oi, and that's it.
Oi.
Gran.
When they're getting on a bit. Gran. As always.
No,
I prefer mother, to be fair.
Mother.
Mother.
It always sounds like you're telling them off, though. Yeah. Mother.
Mother, what are you doing?
I'll say, kind of difficult to say when you're like...
Guess my drink, bloke. No, that's not fair, because I told you what it is. Viewers, guess my drink.
I was just going to give the answer, but I didn't.
It's Umbongo. Bongo.
I've heard they drink Umbongo.
In the Congo?
In the Congo.
With a hippo and a...
Isn't it like a toucan or something as well they've got there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I said they've got there in the advert. I don't know what animals live where, so... As always, Hotfix is, probably you're now regretting, funded by you, the people, at Patreon, which there's a linky up there, there's a linky down there. Your support via Patreon is greatly appreciated, and as always, we have people to shout out who pledged between last week's and this week's, because that's how it works.
So, first of all, I want to give a shout out to James Tiffin, who I've missed him in the past, so thanks for the support. I also want to give a shout out to Dimitri Jones. Thank you for the support. James Aldrit. Thank you for the support. Taylor Williams. Thank you for the support. Andreas Sweder. If you're not from Sweden, then I don't know you. Thank you for the support. And Owen Larkin. Thank you for the gracious support, ladies and gentlemen. It's beautiful. And thank you to all our current patrons as well.
It really, to say it helps is a massive understatement, because Hotfix and Podcast wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Patreon for Hotfix. So if you really enjoy the show and if you want to help out a bit, even $1 helps, and we really appreciate any help that you can give us. So standard pre-Hotfix plug, as always. We're going to go straight into an amazing bit of news. I love this because it's
well,
an example.
Can I just slate the week for being shit for news?
It is totally shit for news. Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. There's not even been delays of any kind. We can't even point to a delay of a PC game and go, look, it's being delayed because of Arkham Knight. We can't. Even that staple has been taken away because no one's delayed anything this week.
Not right, is it, bloke? Yeah,
No.
I mean, it's just not right.
But there are hints of incompetence, which is always helpful for Hotfix. So the first thing we've got, and this is the hint of incompetence for this week, is the news that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which by the way is being slammed everywhere for being terrible, has a day one update larger than the game itself. So I'll just read the article quickly. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 has a larger day one update than the game's main install size. The skateboard sim revival installs at just 4.6 gigabytes, but then you'll need to download a 7.7 gigabyte patch. I want to know how that is even possible, because that means they're replacing more of the game. And I'm so disgusted I just spit all over the pot filter. They're replacing more of the game than existed in the first place.
Yeah, it's like...
How is that? Did they just... I mean, and also...
Did they actually say what they're replacing, or is it just like... I mean, at that size, it's got to be like textures and...
It's everything.
Maybe there's like...
At that size, it's literally everything.
And
I mean,
more.
If the game is... So the game is 4.6 gig. You have to download a 7.7 gig patch.
Which actually isn't that big for a game. That's
really small, which probably explains why it looks terrible, and apparently plays terrible according to everyone at the moment.
Oh my god.
But that means...
Oh my god. I'm looking at screenshots of it. It's like some cell-shaded bollocks.
It's like cell shading but from before when they knew how to do cell shading.
Yeah, it's like we've got a shit 3D... You know what this is? This is like, we've got a shit 3D model. It's like when you go into Photoshop and you're like, hey, I've made this thing, it looks shit, so I'm going to put stroke on it. That'll make it look better, which is like an outline, basically, if you don't want strokers, guys. That's what they've done here. It's like shit 3D model with a black outline.
Yeah. It's like, imagine...
What the hell?
I mean, let me see if I can... there we go. There's a nice screenshot right on the site. I'll show it for you. It's like if Borderlands was done by people who don't know what they're doing. That's what that looks like. Because they've given it cel-shaded, but they've not made the actual... They've not made the characters cartoony. The whole thing with cel-shaded is you kind of need to make it so that it's a very stylistic thing. That's why
exaggerate
Borderlands
the features, haven't you? And stuff.
It's got to have like bold lines across the face to, you know,
what the hell?
show features. Tony Hawk, apparently what they did was they just got the models that they had before, and then they went, I don't like it. And then just cel-shaded the stuff they already had.
Mate. Maybe they had a stroke while they were applying stroke.
I don't get this. How do you screw up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, really?
Yeah, but you know what? I never really liked Tony Hawk Pro Skater anyway. I remember playing it, my mates used to play it on, I think it was a PS2, and I always used to do my head in when they were playing it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I remember good times. I remember good times.
I know everyone goes crazy for it, don't they?
Early years of high school, like year 7, year 8, playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and on the, I think the first one I played, was the first one on the PlayStation 1? I think that's the first one I played when it was on the PS1.
I played it. You know, I might have played it on the PS1, actually, as well.
And I mean, let's face it, the best thing about it was the soundtrack, which was like the same 4 songs over and over again.
The almighty chipped PS1 with the super cheap games.
That was... Where have those days gone now? Where have they gone now?
Highly illegal. I don't condone piracy.
I never chipped a PS1. Never. That would be highly dodgy.
That would be immoral, wouldn't it, Mr. Kirioth?
It would be immoral. I may have bought one that was chipped, but I didn't do it myself.
But you didn't know it was chipped, though, did you?
I had no idea. I had no idea. It was only because someone gave me a disc and was like, see if that works. And then I put it in and it worked. That was it. I had no clue.
Just thought you had a test model from Sony or something.
Yeah.
These things happen, don't they?
I can remember when I got that thing for about 2 weeks solid, getting up early before school so I could play Tekken before I went to school. Just because it was the game that it came with, for whatever reason. And
Tekken, you know what? You know what, right? Tekken. I was sitting there going like, holy shit, Tekken looked amazing. Look at a screenshot of Tekken. Do it right now. It's just a square, a triangle for a head. It's like, it looks shit.
Really
but
bad.
For some reason, I thought it looked amazing. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Also, what was the other game? The other beat-em-up game on PlayStation?
Well, there was...
Is it Virtua Fighter or something like that?
Oh my god. Okay, so here you go. This is a... there's a screenshot of Tekken.
And possibly Soul Calibur as well. First one.
Soul Calibur was quality. I want to know when the next Soul Calibur's out.
Is Dead or Alive a fighting game?
Dead or Alive is, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been that then. It was something.
That's the one with all the bouncing ladies' anatomies.
Yeah, and it's got like stupidly crazy storylines about the fight. Yeah.
Why have we never done a Face Off Friday in Soul Calibur? Because we played that through college.
I ain't got it.
I've got it.
I ain't got it.
I've got Soul Calibur 5 on the 360. I could bring the 360 with me. Got an Elgato. Also, I'd win because I played it a lot. I don't play fighting games that often, but I played Soul Calibur 5 a lot, and then I taught my wife to play it, and so that's like the only game we played for like 3 months solid. She beat me at least twice, so she was getting there.
Wow.
But I didn't let her. She did it herself. Although I kept cheating because I only ever used one character.
Send me this screenshot of Tekken that you found.
Okay, hang on, let me...
Because I want to make sure we're on the same page, but I'm pretty sure it was horrendous.
Yeah, it was. It looked,
but it's like...
It looked pretty bad.
Could have been good.
Here you go. It's, that's what I remember it looking like.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I don't know how I thought this looked great.
Yeah, but I'm the same with Vice City. Because I remember playing that with friends when it first came out, and it was amazing that we'd got Vice City. And I was like, this game looks incredible. It's so bright, it's so vibrant, there's so much detail. And then you look at it now, and it just looks totally shit. Like, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. This was for a while one of the best looking games. And let's just have a quick look. No.
Yeah.
No, not really. Not really.
Even at the time, it was rancid.
I think it was just so
Crazy.
much fun. It was like, oh, this is amazing. And then when you actually look back at it, yeah.
Still I can't work out what is going. Let's try and work out what's going on with Tony Hawk's then. So I think I've just closed the tab down. I'm so disgusted. But I mean, so whatever size the patch is.
Okay, so the patch is 7.7.
It's all right. I found it.
Yeah.
So the game was 4.6, and then they're going to give you a 7.7 gig patch. Now, right, there's a couple of things which could have happened there. Number one, they went into production with the game, the printing of the discs, with half the game on for some reason.
That's
knowing that they could deliver it, but because they had a production schedule to keep.
Because that's like if you look at the total size of the game at 4.6, you've got to download a patch that is like 75% of the game again, roughly. I'm not doing a proper percentage here, but you get what I mean. It's like it's a good fraction of the original game. You've got to download again on top of the game itself. So
no, it's more, ain't it? It's more. It's not fraction. It's just more. It's
that's what I mean. It's like you've got to download the base game itself. Yeah. And then another like 75% of the base game again for like no. I don't understand the reasoning though. Are they doing it because a patch that big would surely involve every asset in the game because it's bigger than the game itself. It would presumably involve every sound in the game as well because it's bigger than the game itself.
I mean,
are they improving the game? Is half of it missing?
This has to be like a shitload of cutscenes, a load of higher res textures or something. It's just weird. It's really weird. I've never seen anything like this before. They may as well have not put the game on the disc. They may as well have just done a fucking the hell. Was it Konami that did it with Metal Gear Solid? It was just a fucking EXE or something. Why didn't they just do that?
I mean, we've seen
and then
like
download it all through
when
Mortal
PSN. Kombat, was it Mortal Kombat X or 10 or whatever you want to say came out? You had to download like the entire game again as a patch. But then it turned out that it broke it even worse. So then they rolled it back, so you had to download it again. But even that was like, it was the same size as the game, yeah. It wasn't bigger than the game. Because, I mean, bigger than the game is like, it's a whole new realm of like, stupid, how does this even work? Because downloading the entire game again, I can kind of see, like if there's tweaks to everything, if there's bug fixes, if there's like a major thing that they need to fix, and everything else is like, okay, we've tweaked this along the way, we've changed that, we've done this, this little bit of hand doesn't clip anymore, that kind of thing. But for the entire game, and then it's
not. It can't be nothing broken. Small.
Totally
it's
broken.
Just
it must have done.
Yeah, it can't. Well, it cannot possibly be fixes to the engine or anything. It's just it is assets. It is for some reason loads of textures, loads of maybe movies, loads of fucking. I mean, maybe they've sat there and the game actually is 4.6 gig, and they went, you know what? Let's make 50 new fucking arenas, right? And that'll be our gift to them on day one. But anyway, let's talk about PSN. And I'm just going to throw the Xbox, whatever the hell their multiplayer system is, into this as well, because I bet they're both as bad as each other. I tried to download Destiny or something, and it took me like 28 hours or something retarded.
The Taken King patch, was it 2.0? Not
it was the 2.0. It wasn't the it wasn't when the game launched. It was prior.
Forever. I mean,
what's the deal with like stopping and restarting it? And sometimes it works faster.
Because I was on Twitter bitching about that because I said it downloading and it was like, oh, you've got 55 hours, and I was like, no, are you fucking serious? Are you kidding? What the hell are you talking about? So I paused it, I let it go again. Oh, you've got 75 hours now, and I was thinking this cannot be real. I paused it again, and then I set it down again, and it took 55 minutes. What?
Imagine the poor people who sit there and just accept it and like, I don't want to stop it in case it gets worse. I'll be able to play
Destiny in 4 days. It'll be great. I can't wait. Mind you, I had the same thing when I actually downloaded the Taken King itself because we got codes for that. We didn't get the disc, did we? So it was a case of set it going, pause it, set it going, pause it again. Oh, we might get it. No, pause it again. It's just totally stupid.
But hang on. So this is why I'm confused with the graphics style, because I can see on that Eurogamer article it says that they just changed the graphics without telling anyone. They just randomly totally did different.
Whereas, I mean, the article for it is like it just went from being a standard Tony Hawk style, because Tony Hawk has had a style since it started. It's just looked better as it went on. And just
what is shredding, bloke? is shredding some sort of terminology for skateboarding?
I don't know.
Because the guys, like, our priority from the start has been to make sure Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 feels good to play. That means hitting 60 FPS at 1080p, even when you're shredding with 20 people in the same session online.
Apparently, that does mean something to do with skateboarding. I just associate that with guitars. So, apparently, no shredding. Guitar,
I associate with a certain Blood Bowl player called Shredded Cabbage, who's a murderer. Hang on. What, bloke? This is totally off topic, but what the hell is the fascination with pulled pork? What the fuck
is
that about? But why is it everywhere? Why?
Well, I mean, I can't answer that question.
It
is
delicious. Everywhere. It's like pulled pork this, pulled pork that. I'll accept it, don't get me wrong. And I agree with the assessment that it is delicious. But why is it everywhere? Why is this a thing?
I'll only accept it in two scenarios. A pulled pork bap is a delicious snack, or on a burger. I'll also take it on a burger, because on a burger it is nice. Bit of pulled pork, bit of cheese. Making it at home, fine. But I do agree, it does appear to be absolutely everywhere.
Don't eat it in Thailand.
You can go
I don't think you can eat pork there.
You can go into cafes, like the Greasy Spoon Cafe, where it's like we serve all-day breakfast, and they'll still have pulled pork on the menu. It makes no sense. You can have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, an English breakfast, a bacon roll, or some pulled pork. What? Why? I don't...
It's just pulled off the bone. It's like shredded, eh? It's like
yeah. Cook it for like 8 hours, and then cook it more, and then it just melts. It's delicious. What we are going really heavily off topic.
There's no news.
A lot. There is no news.
Just take it.
Genuinely no news.
Take it, viewers, and love it.
There is a link though. I do have a single link between stories for this week's hotfix. I have a single link between stories. So if you've bought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 and discovered that you've got to download it again,
is it out now? Hang on, is this game out now or what?
I assume so. I've seen there's at least one video of it on YouTube.
I don't think it's out, is it?
I thought it was.
No, I think you're off your tits because sure everybody would be going crazy. What is it? Pro Skater 5.
There's a video on Jim Sterling's channel of it. Maybe but they've said that there aren't review copies until after it's launched, so he must have.
Yeah, it might have launched 22 hours ago or something.
Right.
I don't know, bloke. Whatever.
Wow, no one cares then. No one gives a shit about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 because
his 29th of September. So actually,
his video showed that it was a broken mess, and I haven't seen anything else about it.
Yeah.
So if you're one of the 5 people who did buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, found that you had to download the game again, and then 75% of the game again, and you're not happy about it, you can do something about it now. You can you can do something. Because there is a new Consumer Rights Act that puts gamers in the driving seat. See, that was a flawless segue, or segue if you want to pronounce it properly. So what this is, and I know there's going to be people sitting there going, oh, sorry, Kiri, we use Origin, we use Steam, it's already got a refund thing, and rabble. That's not what it's for. This applies to a whole load of stuff. It's a blanket ruling, so it applies to just...
It's only for UK, though.
Yeah, but it's dead good if you are in the UK. So... Changes the Consumer Rights Act.
I'll let you explain it. Yeah.
Come into effect today and give gamers better protection when it comes to faulty goods. For the first time, anyone who buys faulty goods is entitled to a full refund for up to 30 days after the purchase. Before the change, consumers were only entitled to refunds for a reasonable time. Of particular interest to gamers is increased protection for people who buy digital content. If digital goods are faulty, consumers are entitled to a full refund or a replacement. This is the first time consumers have had clear legal rights for digital content. So... I'm going to skip a good amount of this because it's just comparing stuff like Assassin's Creed Unity and Batman Arkham Knight and all that stuff. So the Consumer Rights Act says goods must be satisfactory quality, fit for purpose as described. The rules for digital content are slightly different to those for physical goods. The Consumer Rights Act defines digital content as data which are produced and supplied in digital form. Just like physical goods, digital content must be of satisfactory quality, fit for a particular purpose, and as described by the seller. The Act gives consumers the right to repair or replacement of faulty digital content such as online films and games, music downloads and ebooks, and the retailer must do this within a reasonable time. So there's a whole load of stuff in there. What I'll do is I'll link that in the description so you can read it properly.
As far as I'm aware, in this country, if you buy something, it can be anything. You buy it from the shop. I know it's different if you buy it from anywhere, essentially. I know buying, like, the distance selling act is a thing as well for buying stuff online. Like, one wild example I can give you guys in terms of technology. If you drive to a shop, like, if you Overclockers is a big shop in the UK for enthusiast PC components. If you drive there and buy a monitor and drive home and get it out the box and it's got dead pixels on the screen, Overclockers can say, no, we're not taking that back because you took it home. You could have drove like a mental or hit a bump, hit a pothole or something, and that caused the screen to get damaged. If you order it off them online and it arrives with fucked pixels, you can then say, no, this is broke, and they have to replace it because it's gone through their delivery process. So in that example, there is, like, obviously, you know, I've gone against that. I've drove up there and got a monitor, even though I knew it was not the clever thing to do, just because I wanted a monitor dead quick, and I came back home and whacked it on, and it worked, luckily. But in this country, you can take things back within a certain period of time. Take anything back. It's your statutory rights, isn't it? You don't have to, like... The reason I'm going into this is because I had a massive argument with a woman in Argos, which was really quite funny. I bought... I think it was a digital camera from Argos, and the woman said to me, okay, you do realise you can't bring this back, sir. You can't return it. And I'm like, what? She says, you can't return this camera. I said, so if I open it and it's broke, I can't return it. And she went, no, sir, you can't return this. We don't accept returns. I'm like, what? I says, no, you do accept returns because legally you have to accept return. And the woman was looking at me, and I thought I was getting a bit heated. Obviously, the woman probably didn't know. She was just saying whatever her boss had told her to say, or whatever fucking pamphlet she'd been given by Argos headquarters. And I'm like, no, that is totally shit. I bought it anyway because it was a good price, and you know, it worked fine. But if it didn't work, I would have went back in the shop and said, this doesn't fucking work. Give me my money back.
Yeah,
it's dodgy how people try and get around it. You know,
unless
like
you sign something, it's saying that you accept that you can't take it back.
Don't waive your rights away. That's stupid.
It's like, they literally cannot say no, we're not going to do it, because if they refuse to do it, they then get into severe trouble for it. And that's the thing that makes this really good for people in the UK, because it also, you know, this stuff isn't just for kind of, you know, like random games or whatever. It's also for things like, say you're playing, I don't know, like Candy Crush or something, and you decide to buy whatever shit currency is in Candy Crush. I have no idea.
Postman Pats.
Candy Crush.
Did you ever have 1p Postman Pats at your, like, news agents when you were a kid?
No.
Postman Pats, yeah, they were quality.
If you
that's the currency I'd use. Postman Pats. I'm googling it. Postman Pats.
If you decide to buy 10 Postman Pats in Candy Crush, and you do the payment, you go back to Candy Crush, and you're like, where the fuck are my Postman Pats? There's no Postman Pats. I paid for Postman Pats. Where are they? You can then say to them, excuse me, where the fuck is my stuff? And if they don't provide the stuff, then they then have to give you a refund. So
look at it. You got to show this. I'm going to send you a link. This is so stupid. It's like, I've Googled Postman Pats sweets, and I've just come to this amazing post. It's just like, whatever happened to your favourite retro sweets? And some guy's like, Postman Pats. I'm sure you're already aware, but you need to get Postman Pats and Apple Jacks. I would pay some serious money for an Apple Jack, but they're not being made these days. It's people asking where to get Postman Pats from.
I was just wondering if there was any chance you can source Postman Pats sweets.
Source them.
They had pink and blue wrappers, same size as Blue Jacks, and fruit salads.
They were pink sweets as well. They were dead nice. Holy shit.
Why were they?
Holy
why were they
shit!
Called Postman Pats if they were pink?
Because it was just Postman Pat. His face was on it.
Christ!
So, when I was a kid, went into the newsagents, and the what's his name? Tomo was the kid I was with. His mom gave him £10, and he got a £10 pick and mix. It was massive.
Holy!
And I was like, what the hell? And it had loads of Postman Pats in and all kinds of shit.
You've been to a View Cinema lately? A £10 pick and mix is a bag with one gummy bear in it.
Can you even get pick and mixes anymore?
Yeah. Tesco do them. Tesco does pick and mix.
Do they?
Yeah. All cinemas do pick and mix now. Pick and mix it's made a return. It's coming back.
Because I remember Woolworths used to do pick and mix, but they're fucking bankrupt, so they can't do shit now. I know there's all these like crazy candy shops that open up. Which actually, there's one by you, fucking American Sweets or something, right? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Go in there and buy something. They're selling like...
It's not going to last.
It's really expensive.
It's not going to last.
But you know what? You can buy a box of Twinkies if you really wanted that rancid shit in your body from Tesco for cheaper.
Yeah.
These fuckers were like £2 for one Twinkie.
And it's like,
what?
the other thing as well is when it's like, you can get a box of Mountain Dew. And I'm like, oh, you mean the
Why?
Mountain Dew you can buy at Tesco?
Yeah,
You can buy it anyway. It's not big over here, but you can buy it in most places. Maybe not Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's, but everywhere else sells it.
Well, it tastes different because it doesn't use corn syrup over here. So if you, for some reason, wanted the engineered corn syrup sweetener version, I don't know where this is going. Anyway, Postman Pat's Candy Crush, consumer rights. It's beautiful.
You've got
it's
more
hot
rights.
Fix.
Basically, you've got more rights. That's the nice thing.
Well,
it applies to everything.
We always bang on about it, don't we? We always
Yeah.
bang on about the car example, don't we? If you buy a car and it's fucking broke, you take it back in like, mate, the wheels fell off. But for some reason, it's fine if you buy a game and it doesn't work. Obviously, that's changed with Steam refunds. There's been a big impact, like a global impact on that.
Yeah.
In the UK, you've always been able to get a refund through Steam. I have got a refund through Steam before Steam refunds was a thing, because you can. And I think in other European countries, possibly Germany and other places, you can also get that, or you could. It wasn't easy. It wasn't like it is now, click a button and get a refund. It was, you had to say, I don't want this, it doesn't work, blah, 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 and you could get it back eventually. Now it's much easier. But this, again, just extends more protection to a UK consumer, where you can now get your money back for essentially any purchase that you don't like, really.
Yeah. And we've said before about the car. It's exactly the same. You should have been allowed to do it to begin with. It was a very grey area. It was always a lot more difficult to get through because you had to have there's a whole load of hassle that had to be gone through to get a refund. But now it's there. This is how digital goods are treated. They're treated the same as physical goods. If it doesn't work, you can get rid of it, regardless of where you bought it from. What condition it's. As long as it's not in the condition it was, supposed to be in, or it doesn't work properly, like the Arkham Knight example is a really good example of it. If you hadn't bought that through Steam, then you would be able to just go, this is totally broken, I demand a refund. And now they have to give it to you, if you're in the UK at least. The upside to this is that I'm pretty sure, isn't the EU trying to do something similar? Or at least they were. I don't know whether they're still debating this, but there was a thing a while back. It was like a couple of years ago, from what I remember, talking about introducing sort of tighter controls on.
It should be universal, shouldn't it? At the end of the day, it's within it's in every economy's interest to have to give power to the consumer, because it means that the products that are being produced are of better quality and people are part money with them. I guess like one of the issues with kind of going a little bit deeper with games and interactive media like that. I guess this is an example here, this Until Dawn game. I think this is shit, but I've got it, and I could enjoy this product or play the game and then say, I don't want this, it's no good, I want a refund. And that's not fair, because I've played their game and then I've said it's shit and then I've got rid of it. It's fair in the example of the game does not work, but I just don't like the game. I mean, this goes on with Steam refunds. I know you can't endlessly refund because Steam will say, hey, what are you doing? But you could game this system in the UK now if you're a scumbag. You could just buy console games all day long and be like, I don't want this, I want my money back after you've played it. You could get unscrupulous people who might even clone the fucking disc, so they've got it anyway.
I'm wondering whether there would be some sort of cut-off point where if someone is filing these things constantly over.
But how do you know, though? You'd never know, though, will you?
Yeah, that's true.
If you went into game and bought a game,
I suppose it's not the same, is it? Because it's not you'd have to be going to different places, I think, because eventually game would probably file some sort of. There's got to be a way for.
Yeah, if you kept going to the same shop, they'd be like, mate, what are you doing? Like, they might be able to take some action there. I mean, if you want to get even dodgier, you could just always pay with cash, never use card, so they don't know who's buying the game. Because if you went in with your card and kept buying, like maybe they could track you through your bank and say, constantly getting fucking refunds here. What's going on? But then again, bloke, it's your right as a consumer to be able to kind of do that, and it's dodgy.
I suppose it is, but eventually it would be counted as fraud, wouldn't it? If you were doing it over and over again, it would be. For some reason, I don't know why, but this reminded me of something I read on the United Kingdom subreddit yesterday. A guy bought a truncheon, like a retractable truncheon that the police use like a baton.
Yeah,
and he bought it on Amazon, and
they're fucking lethal. They are.
I can't remember whether he said it was before or after it arrived, but he ordered it and it was sent to him, and the police turned up at his house and were like, "You've bought a retractable baton." We just want to make sure that you know that if this is involved in some sort of crime, there's a serial number attached to this, which now is your name attached to it because you are the owner of it. So, we now know that you have it, and we know that if it's involved in something, then you're the one who's going to be in trouble because that's how it works. And there was this big, long debate about, how do they even know? So it was pointed out that it was a German seller. So they bought it on Amazon from a third-party seller who's in Germany, who then shipped it to the UK. It looks like the seller takes down their seller profile and then puts it back up under a slightly different name. And there are comments from this same product, or at least a very similar product, saying, if you buy this, the police will come to your house in the UK because it is illegal. You're not supposed to have one of these. And the general kind of consensus was that as it went through customs, it was scanned, as everything that goes through customs is. And of course, when you do an X-ray on something and find a retractable baton that's going to some guy's house in the UK, understandably, there's not a big thing about it.
I can imagine many Americans are going completely wild now.
Yeah.
God damn, you have to have I mean, obviously you can have guns over there, but like a baton, what the hell's that about? But me, I think that's a good thing, because why the fuck do you need a baton?
The guy did say that he
get
bought
a metal rod.
He did say that he bought it for display purposes. I was like, display? Here, check out this stick. When I do this, it turns into a longer stick, and I can fucking kill people with it. What? That's not a display, is it? What is that?
Have you ever had a go with one of them? I have. They're quality when you flick them out. You get the flick. You go, and it's rock hard on the end, and you could like. You can cause some damage waste somebody with that.
But it's like, that's kind of... I don't... The reason I kind of mention that is I don't think there should be a way by which, by using your consumer rights and by constantly refunding things, people are going to know what you're doing. Like, I don't think that should go that far, whereby, if you constantly refund stuff, people are just going to be... You're just no longer allowed to do it, or someone will show up at your house. But there's got to be some form of protection in there, I'd have thought, to actually protect the companies, because it's all very well kind of going, yes, consumer rights, but if companies have people who would just constantly buy something, send it back, buy something, send it back, buy something, send it back, it's going to damage them in the long term. So there's got to be some sort of protection in place for it, I'd have thought.
I think you'll get people... I don't know. I think the protection is just the marketplace itself, because there's so many people who are going to buy the stuff. Only a fraction are going to send it back repeatedly over and over again. There will be people who take the piss, because, I've met many people in my time on this planet thus far who do take the piss out of things like that, or will buy things and then return them full well knowing that they're going to get a better deal if they do that, and all this shit. And it's like, well, I guess it just happens. But it happens. I mean, this is something that, I mean, I guess with the example of games, like I said, you can experience the game, and then you've took the product. It's almost like you've had your cake, you've eaten it, now you want your money back, kind of thing. Whereas with like an actual thing, like a car or something, if you take that back, obviously you lose the car, don't you? But it's no different. It's still a product that's being sold to you by a company, so you should be the same. And I'm glad that it's all this is starting to happen, because it should do.
Yeah, definitely. But onto something slightly more backwards and not quite as progress orientated. This is the news that the Gamestop CEO has claimed that disc-based games will be around forever. So I'll just read this because it's ridiculous. GameStop's chief executive remains bullish on the future of physical format video games, telling Fortune in an interview that disc-based games will be around forever. Through an analyst project's digital revenue worldwide, accounting for about an eighth of an $82 billion market, Paul Raines feels the steep decline seen in sales of physical format music and movies will not be repeated in video games. I see a complementary business where we sell discs plus download like the current console mode, Raines said, adding that virtual reality will also likely follow this model. There's a whole load of stuff there, but what it boils down to is basically that they want discs to continue. This is the thing. You could kind of say, well, discs are going to be around a while longer. And they are. I'm sure they are. He doesn't think they're going to be around forever. He wants them to be around forever because GameStop does a lot in terms of the second-hand market. They do a lot of trading in. They have a whole section dedicated to selling second-hand games. In fact, I believe, isn't Game in the UK owned by GameStop now? Or are they still separate companies? I thought one of our lot got taken over by them.
No, I don't know. Somebody owns Game. Game went into liquidation. Somebody bought it.
I thought it was GameStop, but I could be wrong.
I'll Google it. I'll find out.
But Honestly, I really don't think he's correct in this at all. I think he hopes that that's the case.
Yeah, Game Station. Hang on. Game Digital PLC, formerly the Game Group PLC, usually known by its high street name Game, stylized Game, is a British video game. The company, I don't know. I think it's its own thing.
Oh, it's its own thing?
Owner. Oh, no. Baker Acquisitions own it. That's such a fucking dickhead name of like a fucking hedge fund setup in really London. I'm Googling this. Baker Acquisitions
Limited.
They're not even a... Oh, yeah, there they are. They've got a Facebook page because, you know, they need that.
Awesome.
No people like this page.
Surely not. But, yeah, so this kind of ties into something, the GameStop thing, that I can't remember if we covered it last month or not. I don't think we did. Where it refused to carry an Xbox One console bundle that contained a download code for Madden NFL. Instead, GameStop insisted on a modified bundle deal that allowed them to sell the new console at the bundle price while including a free copy of the game. So, what they're actually doing, personally, I don't think discs are going to be around forever at all. I think that's a really daft thing to say. I think there might still be like a minority market for physical format games for those people who don't have a stable internet connection.
Yeah,
but
we've got a problem with this though, because having the physical format, a physical copy of the game, means you own the game until the end of time, provided you keep the system the game's compatible with. Yeah. Now, if you look at retro gaming now, you'll see a shitload of like NES systems and all of that stuff, and there's loads of cartridges still around, the game's still playable. You will not see that in 20 years' time with this generation of consoles, because okay, you will to some degree because you can still buy them, right? But a lot of them do require, I mean, Destiny, you'll not be able to play Destiny when it shuts down. These are games which are just going to disappear. There'll be no going back to them. So I think I always want there to be physical copies of games. Obviously GameStop man does, because that's his business, you know. He's not selling digital codes. I mean, well, they probably are selling digital codes in some capacity, but they're not like a big player in that market, I'd imagine. It's more physical sales, footfall through their shops, selling consoles to people and stuff like that. But, you know, the fact that I own this game now, I don't want to own this game because it's shit. This is Until Dawn. But the fact that I own it means I can always play this game now. And it doesn't matter. It's like, in a weird way, well, I kind of still own PT. Obviously, you can't get PT, and it was never available as a physical copy, but it was available as a download. Now, I've got that installed on my PlayStation 4. You can't get that no more. That's just like, it's on my PlayStation 4. If it dies, that's gone. Like that I can't play that game anymore. And that's bad. You know, if I had that on a disc, I could just stick it back in and away we go. So I guess this comes around again to like actually owning stuff. Like I always prefer, I mean, this is really going to sound fucking stupid. It's going to sound retarded to you, but I prefer to own the box of a game. But the amount of games me and you get, it would be completely unfeasible to own them all in a box. So for us, it's better in one sense because you get given a code, you stick it into Steam most of the time, you got the game, off you go, right? It's very convenient. I get it's convenient to people living busy lives as well because you go to work. You know, I remember, like, I can remember going to college and then going to a game store before and getting a later bus to come back home or some bus to come back home or some shit like that, you know. Now, you could say you don't have to do that. In fact, you could just buy the game on your phone for Steam, get home, and you could even have it downloading before you get home, and then you could play the game straight away. So it's easier, it's more accessible, but we do not own our Steam libraries. We have rented access to the game through their network. You see it time and time again where games get revoked. Deadpool got revoked, but then came back, didn't it? I think it came back.
Yeah, it is.
This happens all the time when licenses run out.
And not a game anymore for some reason.
That's weird. So I would always want physical media available, but I'm like a bit of a hypocrite because I want the ease of digital only shit. But I know that if I do not physically own the data in some way, and if it's tied to an online platform, I will lose it. I mean, I used to play EverQuest 2 like a complete animal. I don't have my old account no more. It does exist, right? This was the game that I played for like 3.5 years solid. It does exist, the account, but because the game's free to play and there's all these other problems and all this stuff has changed, if I go back and log into that account, it's not the same thing I owned. Now, I know this is an MMO, so it's not really, doesn't you know, it obviously needs the online aspect and it will update. But what I'm trying to say is I do not own that character. I never did own that character. They could do whatever they liked to that character, and they did, you know?
See, this is the thing as well, though. I think I really don't care about discs anymore. I mean, in a way, I guess I'm kind of the same in terms of being a bit of a hypocrite, because when it comes to things like films and TV shows, for instance, I mean, I bought all of Red Dwarf a couple of months ago because I couldn't find a way of getting it otherwise.
Next Generation Blu-ray, a box set, and I was tempted to get that, but then I'm like, well, I've watched it on like Netflix, but I don't own it.
Here's the thing: I used to buy music all the time. Like when I had I think it was a second generation iPod, the 80 gig one. It's just a little hard drive and with a little stupid wheel for selection on it. I bought loads of music on iTunes, which I mean I still technically have because it's attached to my iTunes account. But if that iTunes account gets shut down, I don't have access to it anymore. I've also got the free trial of Apple Music running at the moment, the 3-month one, which is ridiculous, 3 months free. And I use it all the time. But I had the same thing with Spotify, and I've got the same thing with Netflix. I don't actually own a lot of the stuff that I listen to or watch or read anymore. And, you know, I don't actually... When I say I don't care, it's like, yeah, it could be a pain if the artist I like isn't on Spotify anymore, then, you know, that was irritating. But if I really wanted to, I could go and buy it. But the convenience factor of instead paying, what, like 10 quid a month and being able to listen to everything, it vastly outweighs it. It's the same thing with
this is why HMV... Well, it's why HMV went under in this country, didn't it? And like Virgin Music went off. You know, I remember going to Birmingham and Walsall and towns like that, and going into Virgin Music megastores. Well, the Virgin Music megastore thing, and sitting there listening to all the music with the headphones on, like, because you could preview it, couldn't you, and everything. It was like, you know, I'll buy this, I'll buy that. I remember buying like a Basement Jaxx fucking compilation thing from one in Walsall, and you know, they're nothing now because iTunes killed them. When iTunes came out, it was like, hey, you could just buy your song at home and have it on your iPod, and there you go. Obviously, now we're at the point where everything's streamed, and it's even more. I mean, on iTunes, you could still download the tracks to your... I mean, your iPod's probably got loads of music on it. That's not going to go unless it breaks, yeah?
Yeah.
It's on there, and that's it. It's on there until the end of time, unless it collapses. But with all the streaming stuff, we don't... You stop paying, that's it, it's gone. I mean, I moved over to Apple Music, which I do... I think I prefer the way Spotify works because Spotify seems to be a bit faster. Apple Music's got more music on it, but the only reason I use it is because it makes more sense in my personal situation because I can allow some of my sisters to use the account, like in other family members, because you can have like 6 people using it all the time, which is really good. Like, I know this account is in use, but it's also in use right now for me. But it's never going to get interrupted, where Spotify would cut out and it was annoying. But all of my playlists on Spotify, I don't have access to them anymore. And I can't import my playlist over. I'd have to sit there for ages and get all the songs and make a new playlist. And that's really annoying. And it's like, that is one of those moments where you sit there and you find streaming music and it's great. But as soon as you move away from a service and go to another one, you then realize how you sort of became dependent on that. And we are addicted to these things. It's like Netflix. I said before, you know, I was going to get rid of Netflix. And then, oh, what's this Narco show? And I watched it. You know, I watched... Old Boy on it, which I'd never seen before the other day, and other shit, which I never would have watched because I would have got rid of the account and I would have been fine. Because why do I need it? I watched all of Red Dwarf on it.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I don't know, it's...
It is that convenience factor though, isn't it? And it's like...
Yeah, that's all it is.
But the thing is, it's like, stuff like that, I always think, you know, do I need Netflix and stuff? But then I use it a lot. And I see stuff that I otherwise wouldn't have seen. Like, I would never have seen Narcos if you hadn't seen it on Netflix and then told me about it. Because then I haven't finished watching it, but I think I'm about 6 episodes in. And I'm really enjoying it. But I wouldn't have ever watched it otherwise because it'd be like, oh, have you got Netflix? No. Oh, well, in that case. Like, what am I going to do? Go out and buy something that I've had no experience of. But instead, it's like,
here's
I'm paying 10
as well.
a month, so I may as well give it a try. If I don't like it, there's going to be something else on it that I can watch instead. And it's like, I won't be paying any extra for it.
I know we're kind of going off topic a little bit here, but with the Netflix thing, I mean, it's not really off topic because it's just about not owning media, essentially. Man in the High Castle, that is being made on Amazon. I want to watch that because I love like World War II shit. Now, it's based off the book, obviously. They did a pilot episode, which anyone could watch if you had Amazon Prime. I think actually Prime still gives you Amazon Instant Video.
Yeah.
But I had Prime at the time, and which was the free trial. And I just was like, what's this? And I clicked on it and watched it. I was like, fucking hell, this is well good. And it was Amazon's pilot series where they had like 5 different shows or something.
Yeah.
And whichever got voted the most would be turned into a full show. It turned out that it was Man in the High Castle that won. So I'm like, nice one. Problem is, I don't have Amazon Prime, but I really want to watch that. So now, what are my options? My options are get an Amazon Prime subscription as well as a Netflix subscription, download it illegally, or some sort of dodgy option, because I'm not going to be able to buy this. Yeah. Can't buy it. I mean, how can you buy a series? You can't buy a series, can you?
Well, once it's all been
once it's finished and all done, yeah. But then what's the point, you know?
Yeah. It's the same problem with Game of Thrones in this country. It's exactly the same problem. To get Game of Thrones, I would have
Most people listening to this are downloading Game of Thrones. I can guarantee you, because you can watch it, can't you, on Sky? I think it is.
Yeah, but it's Sky Atlantic.
Yeah, and so it's its own fucking package, ain't it?
It's not even part. It's not even part of the main Sky package. So to get it, for me to watch Game of Thrones, you got to switch over to Sky. Now, there's no point going over to Sky without switching over the broadband as well, because it's like the same price, just having the TV. So you'd switch over with your phone and your TV package. I don't have a TV package at the moment. I've got Freeview, because I don't need a Sky package or a Virgin package, because guess what? I've got access to YouTube via a Chromecast and the internet, and I've got Netflix. So why the fuck else? Why would I need anything else? Yeah. Except only for Game of Thrones. So to get Game of Thrones, you switch over to Sky. That's your phone, your broadband, and your TV. My monthly outgoing increases by a vast amount because I'm not paying
by about
anything.
80 quid.
By about
probably.
80 quid.
Yeah.
Then, once I've got Sky, I've then got a Sky for Sky Atlantic, which is another package on top of Sky, which is
probably
more
like 15
expensive.
quid a month.
by the time you get through it, it's like you're paying like 95 quid a month or something to watch one show. No one's going to do that. No one does it. And this is the problem. This is the thing that pisses me off when companies like HBO and whatever, they're like, oh, this show's getting pirated to hell. Like, the piracy figures through the roof. Game of Thrones is like the most pirated thing in the world, ain't it? It's like,
it's got to be, yeah.
Well, guess what? You're not providing me any way to watch it. If there was just the day after Game of Thrones goes out, or even the evening that Game of Thrones goes out, if on iTunes there was just a thing that said, watch today's episode, £2 or something, $2.50, I'd probably do it.
I know. HBO.
Like, okay, great.
Is it HBO? Yeah, isn't it? They have got their own streaming thing, which I think is a thing.
HBO Go. I think
something like that, yeah. But again, that's like a subscription just for. Well, I guess that would.
Is that even available over here?
Probably not.
HBO Go UK.
Okay, so maybe that's the answer to it. But like the original point of all of this discussion has been, Kiri thinks. I mean, like I said, I'm a bit of a hypocrite. Kiri is like, it will be gone, and we've got to face facts. Digital media will be gone because it damages the environment to make this shit. Like, why produce this, which is just when you could just instantly transfer it? It makes sense in every single way. If you could send me a game and I owned the game completely, the data on my hard drive, and I could make copies of it and do whatever I wanted, that's great. But we don't live in a world like that. We live in a world of DRM. So you need Steam. The games are linked to your Steam account. They're linked to some other account. They're linked to Battle.net. They're linked to God knows what. They're linked to your PSN, whatever. So you don't own them. So if that service shuts down, or some sort of legal bollocks goes down and you lose access to the game, or whatever happens, you lose your access to your account, maybe you you break the rules of Steam, so they ban your account. There's a lot of ways you can lose it. So it's sort of like, I can imagine like 20, 25 years ago or whatever, when people were dreaming about this kind of digital delivery systems and God knows what. They probably didn't envision a world where it was so like DRM heavy and everyone's tied into their iTunes account, tied into their Battle.net account and all of that stuff.
Well, something that always makes me laugh, like whenever I think about kind of how far we've come in terms of DRM and content delivery and stuff. When I installed Freelancer on my new laptop all those years ago when I was playing the game, I went on. I had you had like what was supposed to be a unique code that was for your account only, and you use that code, and that code registered with any freelancer server you're on, allowing you to go back and you still have your character and you still have all your ships and all that kind of thing. I installed it. I forgot to put my code in, and I went to the server I was playing on at the time. I logged in, and I had someone else's stuff. Like, I had all this, like, just random characters, random ships that I wouldn't personally use. I was like, what the hell is this? What is going on here? It's because the game generated the code, but it gave like a finite number of codes. And the assumption was that people wouldn't all be playing on the same server, so the chances of running into someone else with the same code as you was, really slim, so it wasn't that much of an issue. The thing that makes me laugh about that is, to get that copy of Freelancer, my disc had broken, so I downloaded it. I mean, I already owned the disc, so I already owned the game, but I had to torrent it to get the game. I then got the game, I then installed it. No keygen or anything required. It was just install it and play on a game that had like a thriving multiplayer community as well. You just didn't require anything. There's no DRM in place whatsoever. It was just, oh, you've got the game installed, brilliant, off you go. And then it gave me someone else's stuff. I mean, compare that to now, where we've had stories recently about how SafeDisk has been killed by Windows, how Steam has to be running for pretty much all of your games to work, provided you bought
in that
Steam.
example.
Things
Though,
like Origin
that highlights another thing with anti-cheating as well, because in that case you could if you hack the game, it wouldn't matter, because you could just keep using the same copy over and over and over and over again like a dickhead. If you want to cheat on CSGO, you can, but then your account's going to get banned. Then you need to make a new account. Okay, CSGO's cheap. You could keep doing it, but there still is a monetary figure there which does deter people. And then you go even deeper. Look at a company like Blizzard. They are obsessed with controlling the experience of the player completely. Like, you log onto our system and you do as we say. I've seen stuff with Overwatch where they're saying there will be dedicated servers, but it's just going to be matchmaking, like Heroes of the Storm. That is how that game's going to work. There's going to be like, this is what people are, they were making noises like that, and people are kind of, I guess, surmising at this point, but it does make sense, where you could just make a group with your friends and then just click search and it fills your team up and you're just on a map. You're not on a server, you're just playing the game. What server are you on Heroes of the Storm? Yeah. Just playing with people, and that's a game that's like Team Fortress 2 in a way, and all these communities that were built up around servers. We talked about this before with, communities getting built around servers, and now it's a dead thing now. But companies like that are actively working to remove that completely and control you even more.
I mean, the thing is,
is that a good thing?
I don't think it is. I mean, the loss of disc-based games, I'm not saying that's a positive thing either. I'm convinced they're going to go, and I'm aware that I'm very hypocritical.
I agree with that. I think they go as well.
I'll buy shows on DVD and Blu-ray. And
I would never buy a DVD. I've got to be honest. I would never ever buy a DVD. Is fucking 480p. It's a piece of shit. Why ever buy a DVD? Yeah, I could not. Netflix is streaming to me at fucking HD resolutions. It is not some shit DVD. It's weird. Like that's like I buy a Blu-ray because I know a Blu-ray is going to be better quality. Yeah, but no, I wouldn't buy a Blu-ray. You know what? I wouldn't buy a Bluray because why would I turn my PlayStation 4 on to watch a Blu-ray? I just stream it on Netflix. Oh god, I'm terrible.
But what if it's not on Netflix? This is the other thing. And
I download it on my PC.
And that's the thing as well. Like for the DVD and Blu-ray stuff, it's stuff that I want to be able to have access to forever. Forever. Like I don't. For instance,
but are you going to be the guy? Are you going to be the guy like in 40 years' time? Your kid's all grown up. You're there, old man Kiri. He's in his 70s, and he breaks out his DVD player.
What, to watch Dad's Army? I'll be that guy.
Yeah, but
fuck it.
Will it even connect to anything at that point? Hey, well, you know what? I mean, there was a really good Google a thing that came out the other day. You can plug it into old hi-fis, and it turns them into Wi-Fi streaming receivers. So it basically gives them a Bluetooth receiver. You plug it into the hi-fi, like into it, into the in port or whatever. Get your phone, turn the Bluetooth on, and it becomes a Bluetooth-enabled thing. And it's only like a cheap little like dongle thing. It's pretty good. Like that's one way of keeping old shit relevant. Because the thing is, speakers are fucking speakers, ain't they? And there are some really good speakers about which are not Bluetooth enabled and all of that shit. Yeah. Which with these little dongles or whatever, you could do that. So maybe, but yeah, I can never see. The way technology is rapidly advancing, like rapidly advancing. It's not like it was with Betamax and fucking video players. You know, I think my grandparents have still got a video player somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. That technology is completely obsolete compared to what we've got now.
Gone.
But we're rapidly advancing so quick that probably within 10 years, DVD, I mean, even the way, like the way we connect the DVD player through HDMI will not be enough, because HDMI does not operate at high enough. It doesn't do 4K resolution, does it? HDMI, I don't think.
Yeah,
but I might be getting confused there. And then it's like, maybe it'll change.
Why could it not be the case that HDMI could be slowly built up to do that? Because if you look at USB, we've had various stages of USB at this point, and each one has been more efficient than the last. But it's still the same. It's still the same cable, still the same box. You can plug a USB 3 cable into USB 2 port, and it will still transfer data. Maybe not as fast as it should do, but there's still formats that, whilst
the only thing I know for sure is monitor DisplayPort adapters on NVIDIA graphics cards. You need them to do higher refresh rates, like 144 hertz. You need dual DVI for that as well. HDMI is 60 hertz. It doesn't go above that. So for gaming, it's shit. 60 hertz on a TV is fine. Don't get me wrong. That's always fine. Because, I mean, films are only like 24 FPS anyway. So what the hell do you need? But maybe it'll change. We just don't know where it'll go. But I don't know. I always find it kind of quaint when people say things like, I've bought this to own this, but then it just might not work.
There is,
but you still own it. But didn't I go on about this before, where there was some fucking scientist come up with this thing about you may own, like if you own a picture, got a picture and it works on Windows operating system and you saved it on the memory stick. In 20 years' time, there might not be an operating system around that understands that data. So you can't actually see the picture. So you need to keep the old thing. I just think I went into a crazy reference with Steins Gate, some of you, and then I abused anime nerds.
There is a risk of that, because as you say, it's the same thing as like when you look at like VHS and Betamax and stuff.
Yeah.
VHS just doesn't, it's not a thing. It hasn't been a thing for years and years. And when you, I mean, there's countless examples of that kind of thing going on. Like when you look at things like, people are going to hate me or hate on me for this, but whatever, I don't care. Firstly, mini discs, they're gone. They lasted about a year and then they vanished.
I remember mini discs, yeah.
Well, even
and they were really expensive. Mini disc players were dead expensive, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. MP3 players. When's the last time you saw an MP3 player for sale? I haven't seen one for ages. Why? Because you just do it on your phone. Every single phone has got gigabytes of storage. Most people have got, at least in this country, if you've got a smartphone, you've probably got either unlimited data or you've got a very high data cap, which you can then pay to improve. So I'd wager a good number of people, not the majority, but I'd wager a good number of people have got maybe, also like 3, for instance, I think it's 3 or Orange, one of the two, have got a partnership with Spotify. So if you're streaming data through Spotify, it doesn't count.
Free, yeah.
It's free, it's unlimited. To a degree, I mean, I realise there's an entire culture built around this, but record players as well. Record players are not common. There is still a following. There is still, like, if you...
Well, I'm going to say this, that's in the realms of cool. It's like, yeah, I'm cool and hip, I've got a record player. Like, a video player is not. Like, and I've got to be honest, I'm going to throw this out there. Anybody who comes to me and says, the sound is better off a record, I'm going to club you over the head. It's not better.
I would absolutely not agree with that at all. But having said that, I would be lying if I said I hadn't looked at record players and amps and speakers, because I have, from my grandfather, he left me when he died, all of his records. And he's got loads of stuff in there because he just collected, whatever he liked the look of. So I think he's got Deep Purple's first album on record. Like, that's pretty good. I mean, there's loads of stuff like that in there. It's like really, it might not be kind of, people might not look at it and go,
shut up, I've got a tale about a bit of equipment stuff. Here. Right. None of my grandparents have died. Well, they have, but I didn't know when I was too young. Anyway, an old geezer I knew died, and he was a Spitfire pilot in Asia, yeah? And he used to fly around. He said very horrendously racist things, which I cannot possibly repeat. But he used to fly around shooting Japanese planes. And then as the war was coming to a close, it was his job to go and blow away Japanese planes that were in, airfields, so they didn't get any ideas, because they were getting like kamikaze happy. Do you know what he gave me when he died?
Kamikaze happy.
Yeah, he gave me his leather Spitfire flight jacket.
That's quality.
That is quality. I mean, it's dead old and don't smell very good, but it's a leather Spitfire pilot's fighter jacket.
Yeah.
I've got it. I should get it out at some point.
That's amazing. But like
anyway,
stuff
that's
like
my
that,
old man gift tale.
and that's quite.
What the hell?
That's why I kind of why I brought up records is like it's technically a dead format in that it is not widespread. It's not, you don't go into someone's house and expect to see a record player. You expect to see a TV, a laptop, a tablet.
Can I just come in again? With the record player, when I'm saying the sound's not better, it's different, right? It's a different way of listening to the music. But a video is shit resolution. It's going to have all that shit coming down the screen. Nobody's going to sit there and watch it and accept it because it isn't different. It's just worse.
I think you're right with that, because I think the whole point of like record collecting and listening to it on records is it's not something that you just put on in the background. From people I've spoken to, they don't do it because it's like, oh well, I prefer being able to only fit 4 songs on my chosen medium. It's because when they want to listen to it, it's like it's almost like it's a hobby thing, isn't it? It's you get the record, you put it on, you sit down and you listen to it. It's not background noise. It's not whilst you're doing something else. It's like it is your thing. You listen to those records.
I've got more random info here. My brain's going crazy today. Do you know what the oldest recording ever was? And it's very frightening.
I thought it was singing. Was it singing? Like
I think it's screaming.
Was it screaming?
No, hang on. No. It's market, just general market noise. It was I'm sure it's a Roman thing with a guy was making a pot in a marketplace, and obviously the vibrations of the sound are inside the pot. So somebody got it at a university and played it back, and you can hear the voices from like 2,000 odd years ago.
That's creepy. I don't like that at all.
Or something like that.
That's horrible. But yeah, that's kind of different. That's one of those things that's I think will probably still live on in God knows how many years' time, because companies are still pressing records. They're now collector's items. It's now a culture. But as you say, if we get to the point within the next few years where 4K resolution becomes the standard, I mean, I think it will take a while to actually build up to that, because it's still really expensive. It's far more expensive than, in fact, I say HD. I don't think you can even get non-HD TVs anymore. But I think it's going to be a longer time between the adoption from standard to HD, from HD to 4K. I think it's going to be a lot longer before that happens. But you're right in what you're saying, that once you get 4K resolution, you're going to stick your DVD in the player that you've kept for God knows how long and jury rigged up to it, and it's going to look like shit. It's going to look terrible, and that's not going to last. I think some stuff is going to last, but that's why I don't think games are going to last in that format. I don't think they are, because it's like, yeah, gaming is a hobby, but you've got such there's a massive influx of games every single year. You know, you've got more stuff to play every single year.
Too many games.
There's too many games to play at this point. And it's just, when I say getting worse, I suppose technically getting better, but there's more games, less time. It's not the same as kind of the collecting aspect of things. It might be for stuff like the N64 or whatever, or your NES or whatever. That's kind of got that collecting thing about it, but no one is sitting there going, yeah, I've got my fucking vintage Xbox 360 with all 3 Mass Effects on it. That's not a thing that's happening. That's not a culture. That's not grown up anything like that. Because I think as the development of games and consoles and PCs and just the technology that we use to game in general has increased, it's actually increased at quite a rapid rate. So you've kind of gone from, look at this amazing old retro thing, to, yeah, that game's just a bit old. And that's kind of what it's got into. It's not like I don't look at Freelancer as something that should be collected or cherished. Instead, it's like, that's an old game I used to play. It's not got the same reverence that the early consoles have got, because I think we've gone past that already. It's like it's the same thing with mini discs.
I suppose it's to do with the visuals, though. It's to do with the visuals as well. I mean, you look at a PlayStation 1 game, it looks like shit. Like that screenshot of Tekken looks like shit. Yeah. But old Mario just looks like a modern indie game. So it's like, well, okay, that's still playable to me. Tekken would not be playable to me because it's fucking abysmally gash. It looks terrible. It probably was a good game at the time, but that's what we got now. I mean, you look at the games now, and yeah, okay, some of them are technically very advanced and whatever, but in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, they're probably going to look like shit. Yeah. Well, we could all be running around with fucking HTC Vive things on our head anyway.
Well, this is I kind of got my own, like, it's obviously not in any way scientific, but a kind of theory about this kind of thing where it's like, when you look at all the different forms of entertainment, no one gives a fuck about video. right? No one cares about video. People are not going to care when DVD disappears, really. They're not going to be that bothered when Blu-ray disappears. But you still have people who will have those massive old cassette reels. You know, the ones with the projector?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
two
yeah.
big things?
Yeah.
Those are like... They weren't the first. They were kind of close to the first kind of home video thing. But those have still got kind of a place in a certain generation's heart because it's like
cameras
this is
as well, isn't it?
what
They're
we
the
had.
same.
Yeah, and it's the
Yeah.
same for cameras. It's like it's not the very first ones; it's the ones when it started to become more prevalent. Same with games consoles. It wasn't the first ones where no one had one. Like you had one guy in one town had some, wooden monstrosity with a joystick that looked like it had come out of a fighter jet or something. It's instead things like the NES and the SNES and the N64. It's the earlier generation, but it's not the earliest. And that seems to be the way it kind of goes with most things. It's like no one gives a fuck about collecting parchment from God knows when in the Middle Ages, but a first edition of an old book has got a lot of value. And it seems to be that kind of, not the first, maybe the second to the third generation of that type of media is what lives on. We're not in that for games. We're so far beyond that at this point that people just don't care. There's no drive to collect it. There's no drive to keep it alive because why would you bother? It's not.
What you've got here is an example that kind of makes sense in your situation. So when your kid is older, you will not be able to say this is the game I played and play it with the kid because it just won't be available. Whereas my father could say to me, hey, I played Space Invaders or whatever on a fucking Spectrum. We could get that and play it. We could play that if we had a copy of it or whatever. We could play it. But in fact, he was the one who bought me a Spectrum in the first place. The old ZX Spectrum I had with Spy Hunter and all these other games on because he played them and he was like, "Yeah, you go." And that was the first thing I ever got.
There's also the built-in obsolescence as well that we didn't have back then. Like, when you look at anything like washing machines, cars, God knows what. It was designed to last because you wanted a product that would last a long time because then people would buy your product because it's reliable and lasts a long time.
Magically dies when the warranty runs out.
Yeah, now instead it's kind of, your 360's overheated. You better buy a new 360. It's like, it's not the same. It's just not, it's all designed to pushing the next thing.
Before we come off this, because we've gone a bit crazy on it, what I want to say is a final word from me, that anybody who, when the new console generation was coming out, went and shopped in their 360s with these massive game collections or their PS3s with massive game collections are cabbages. Because they will, at some point, maybe want to revisit those games. And those games and that system owed them nothing if they had used it for years and years and years. So why they would take it in to get 100 quid off the next fucking Xbox is beyond me. Those people are mad.
I think you're right with sticking with it in case you want to play it again. But I would say things like the 360, PS3, all that stuff, it has no discernible value anymore. It's like, it's gone. And I think once the next generation of consoles comes out, these will be exactly the same. It'll be like, keep them if you want to keep playing them, but
HD remakes as well. So a lot of stuff. Which,
look at Gears of War.
Look at Uncharted.
Master Chief Collection. It's just, we're getting to the point now where I don't think we even need to consider saving games because people bought them. They're going to make them again anyway.
I know but it's so cheap. That is, I don't like that attitude. If you're gonna, I mean, the Master Chief Collection was a bag of shit. But if you're gonna give us a HD version of a game, I mean, Gears of War is 30 FPS, but 60 FPS when it's multiplayer. Why? It's a 360 game from 10 years ago, running on the latest. Supposedly latest console hardware.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's move on to something that will not be remembered, hopefully, because it never existed to begin with. This is more news because, of course, this story can't be milked enough by absolutely everybody ever.
For God's sake! Yeah,
Konami's cancelled Silent Hills featuring a horror manga master. So there's a guy who does manga, which is the
violent anime stuff,
crazy,
isn't it? Like or something.
Book anime, whatever.
Hang on,
we're going to get butchered for that description.
Yeah, I'm googling it. Manga.
The drawings that appear.
The guy who does the just shut up, bloke. The guy who does the comics created in Japan or by creators in the Japanese language, conforming to a style developed in Japan in the late 19th century. They have a long, complex prehistory in early Japanese art. The term manga, kanji, harangijangi, katanga. Listen, it says. So let me just listen. Oh, he just says manga. Manga is a Japanese word referring to both comics and cartooning. Manga is a term used outside Japan. So hang on, I thought manga was like for adults and anime was for kids.
Yeah, I have to admit,
like
I
manga.
Like that.
Well, because when I was younger, I remember one of my uncles had manga films, and they were like massively gory with like loads of death and shit.
I think it's just a comic. I think mangas are just comics, and anime is like TV show. And they can be the same thing. Well, they can be based on each other and stuff. But yeah, basically,
animated manga. Then is that what?
Who knows?
Bale.
Basically, this guy called Junji Ito. I'm probably gonna get attacked for pronouncing that incorrectly. He's a horror manga master, and he was also supposed to be collaborating on Silent Hills. Not that it matters. Silent Hills, for the moment, is fucking dead. Leave it alone. Stop it. Move on with your lives. There are more things in this world than constantly going back and finding out exactly who was involved with Silent Hills so that you can bring it out and everyone can have a fucking, like, just mournful wank over how great the game would have been and how it would have been perfect and the best game ever made, and Del Toro and Junji Ito and Norman Reedus or whatever the hell his name was, and how all of them would have created the best product known to man, and no game ever would have topped it in the history of the rest of the world or until the heat death of the universe. Shut the fuck up. The game is gone. It might not be dead. There's a chance, but could we maybe save the news for when it turns out Microsoft has bought it for $1 billion instead of constantly churning out another, like, conciliatory, oh well, it would have been great but it's still cancelled story every fucking week until the day we die? Could we stop that, please? Thank you. Fuck me. And yes, I did put that in there purely so I could have that rant, because it's pissing me off, because every time I look at anyone, like on Twitter, on the gaming subreddit, on any website ever, they're constantly bitching about how great it would be. We fucking get it. It would have been good, but it's not going to be good. It's gone. Piss off. Do something else with your time.
Piss off.
Jesus Christ. Good news, though. Divinity Original Sin 2 Kickstarter has ended with quadruple its goal, as if you had any doubts as to whether that would happen at all.
A shock, even.
So yeah, it had a $500,000 target, and it is closed with a, well, $2,032,434 pledged, and an estimated $43,000 brought in through PayPal.
Yeah. All
of the stretch goals have been unlocked, which I cannot, off the top of my head, remember what the stretch goals are, but they've all been unlocked, so that's nice. Let's have a quick look. What the hell is this? Okay, we're gonna have to go to Kickstarter for it, because I clicked on the link on PC Gamer.
I've got them. I got them. Right. So stretch goals, right? Let's have a look. Let me just scroll down and find them. Right, here we go. Stretch goals. 700 grand. Strategist mode for diehards from diehards. I don't know what that means, but whatever. $850,000. Pick a skill tree. Your skills, your choice. $1 million racial skills, because dwarfs rock and lizards roll. $1.2 million Undead Origins. Death is only the beginning. $1.3 million. Pick a skill tree too. You didn't think we'd limit your options, did you? Okay. $1.5 million. The Hall of Echoes. A new home in the great beyond. $1.65 million. Dedicated mod support. Modders of invention. $1.7 million. Love and hate. A fine romance or a bit of rivalry. $1.8 million. $50 million. Shape-shifting mask. My two faces aren't nearly enough. $2 million of $2 million. Game master mode. Who's the boss? You're the boss. So yeah.
So most of those need some sort of context, but it has. Got
I don't
million,
know what any
which
of
is
them
really
mean.
good.
Really, well, I know it's some of them mean, but we said before about these guys. They are the model for Kickstarter campaigns because they listen to their audience and they don't just dismiss them. They also deliver on time and they deliver a good product. And it's Divinity Original Sin, widely regarded as a fantastic classic RPG game. This more of the same. I think they've got Chris Avallone from Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it is.
he's
He's
on
now
board now
writing
as
for
well.
them as well. So
yeah, that's absolutely brilliant, and yeah, that should be good. And everything else they've done has been good. I'm just going to stop going to the desktop now because these are just the small end bit of news as hotfix comes to a close. So this is multi-crew ships and more have been revealed in Elite Dangerous. So they've done their crazy Horizons thing with the whole planets, and now they're doing multi-crew ships. The problem that I've got with this is that I still have not found any motivation to go back into the game at all. I don't know whether multi-crew ships will do that, or even whether, I don't know, maybe multi-crew ships might do it.
it's weird you should say that. I kind of was thinking about this game this morning. I didn't know we were going to talk about it in hotfix, and I was like, because actually I was working out a place to put my HOTAS because it was in the way, and I'm like, you know what, Elite Dangerous, I did enjoy that, but I was playing it with the hope of more content that was going to be added soonish, and it kept getting delayed. And
yeah,
honestly, I don't know what state the game is in right now to comment on it. I don't know. Like it's a good space sim. The ship controls well. Combat feels good. I just needed stuff to do. I mean, there might be stuff to do in the game, but I just haven't gone back to it for it's got to be getting close to a year now. So
yeah,
it's a shame, and it's also kind of not a shame. But
if you don't put enough content in the game, then you're going to lose people.
Well, you could say there was too much content, but it was just all the same. If you wanted to play Euro Truck Simulator in space, it was fine because you're just flying all over the place. But if you wanted something a bit more energetic, it was at the time difficult. But I think they've got a dogfight thing in or something, or that's coming in, and I don't know.
I don't know. The biggest problem I had with it was not being able to play with other people, and the Wingman update was supposed to fix that, and it didn't really provide what I thought it was going to provide, and so the game just
MULTICREW could, but MULTICREW, like I said, again, it's a bit too far now. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I mean the expansion Horizons, I mean, it's £40, and it's
I keep forgetting about that. I keep thinking it's free for some reason,
and it's going to be coming around Christmas time, but it's released in parts, so it'll be the walking around on the planet thing that comes out first. So the multi-crew stuff isn't even until next year. Once again, it's a staggered release of content, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Unsurprisingly, WildStar went free to play. Now, I remember we played WildStar, and it wasn't too bad, but
WildStar wasn't too bad. Like WildStar, it was just a WoW clone with a positional combat system, which felt better to begin with, but quickly I got annoyed with it because it was just WoW's combat system, but you just had to keep jumping out of the telegraphs, and it got a bit annoying.
Yeah,
and there was just telegraphs everywhere, and it was like PvP didn't seem too bad in the game, but I'm afraid it's just that is a classic example of a company that tried to make a game on the same level as WoW, because it's visually a very polished game. It looks impressive, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They just made a load of mistakes with it because they tried to make it this ultra hardcore raid experience, which the more vocal members of a MMO community might want that, but you know what? Not everybody wants that. So and I think it had a really atrociously low complete rate because it was so. I didn't think it was difficult in the sense of it was difficult, but it was just difficult to get everyone together to do it or something. I don't know. It's a shame that it had to do this, but I think for fucking months and months kept going on about how this was going to go free to play. It was odds on. Yeah. Nobody was playing it. You could tell no one was playing it.
I don't think you can do. I honestly don't think you can do a subscription MMO anymore. You might. I mean, I say that things like Eve. There are outliers. I mean, Eve can do it because
but Eve's population is collapsing. You know what Eve did? They
it's true.
Restricted you to one account. People used to multi-box.
Yeah.
And they'd buy multiple accounts to do multiple things. And then when they restricted that, the sub numbers dropped. But the sub numbers have just been dropping anyway for Eve. And Eve is.
So even then,
I don't know. Even that's going downhill. Yeah.
I think the only thing that can do it still is World of Warcraft, and that is purely because that's just down to legacy. I don't think that's even down to anything like kind of. We can do it because we have an exceptional game. It's because the people who play World of Warcraft have been playing World of Warcraft solidly since World of Warcraft launched. And so they're used to paying that amount a month, so they'll continue paying that amount a month because that's what they've always done. It's nothing to do with anything else, I don't think. But
it's just a community thing in it. It's like I would play with these people, and I guess it's goes back to our other point about things being outdated. I mean, a lot of people go back to WoW and only play it for a few days, but they do it every other year or so, just to see what's going on.
Yep. Hopefully, I mean, I kind of hope that it does okay as free to play. I mean, most of they seem to. They seem to stagger on at least most MMOs that go, well, ones that were of a decent quality to begin with, which WildStar was. But yeah, it's not surprising at all. Better news: Xenonauts 2 is more likely than not, so we might actually get a Xenonauts 2. Xenonauts 1 was pretty damn good. So
it was. So Xenonauts 1 is the most hardcore planetary defense thing you can play, unless I suppose you're playing Iron Man XCOM. But even then, that's just like it's not. No, it's not. Xenonauts is more hardcore because you're given the traditional XCOM place your base where you want on the geoscape, and you have to intercept all of the stuff, and it's like that. But Xenonauts did suffer from a couple of issues, which I hope they do sort out when they make this, because it says that it's looking more likely. I'd imagine they will make this, because I'd like it to have a better graphics engine for a start, because the graphics were not to my liking. They're this weird isometric, real low budget kind of look.
They have said that they want to move from 2D to 3D, but they want to make sure that the 3D that they do is going to be kind of reference the 2D sprite style of the first one.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, right? They cannot, if they go 3D, they can't do it like XCOM, and because the game, like XCOM the remake, because that's kind of designed for 3D. You know what I'm saying? Like it still needs to be isometric in the way it's programmed, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, there's a couple of problems I've got with Xenonauts. The first one is the current game depends way too much on the interception game. If you are the master of the skies, you don't really have to do too much on the ground. Like, you don't have to always go out and sort out alien problems. If you can intercept squadrons of bombers before they get to cities to perform terror missions, well, that's great, because the terror mission is very difficult, and you'll probably lose soldiers. So when I've been successful playing the game, it's just been a case of you have your base, you have one drop ship with maybe like you've got 10 soldiers or something, and then you've got like 3 other bases that are just bases with interceptors, and all you do is sit there intercepting the aliens over and over again and waiting for things to happen. Like, you know, when you detect where the alien base is, go and attack it. When you get to the other various milestones in the game, you just have a decent enough ground crew to take care of it, because experience isn't really, it kind of is a thing in the game for the soldiers, but it's just about their equipment. And provided you're shooting the aliens down, bombing the crash sites, or you do have to do some missions, because you have to get some of the resources in to actually perform the research and go on missions to unlock research as well. But late game, it's not as interesting as early game, and that's wrong. It should be more interesting.
Hopefully that. I mean, I thought they'll address stuff.
I want that. Yeah.
I mean, they've had there's a big kind of community around Xenonauts. So I'd imagine that they'll be looking at feedback from people who've played the first one extensively. I mean, it mentions in the article that
there's a community thing. Yeah, I didn't read this. I mean, maybe they fixed the problems that I'm moaning about.
Yeah, so there's a spun-off community edition. So they've got the support there, and they've got people who obviously are passionate enough about the game that they'll go through and kind of make their own version of it. So when then you look, the second one will correct stuff like that. And well, the final thing we've got, which is actually, I suppose, kind of good news, is a new turn-based BattleTech game is in development. So if you're wondering what BattleTech is, you've undoubtedly heard of MechWarrior. And MechWarrior is kind of, I believe it's based on the same thing that BattleTech
precursor
is in. Yeah.
Wasn't it before? So I don't know too much about this, to be fair.
BattleTech was a 1987 board game. And as far as I know, the article doesn't actually talk about it very much, which is weird, because I could have sworn when I read about it the other day, it mentioned MechWarrior explicitly. For some reason, it's not. Yes, there we go. Yeah, so MechWarrior, it basically sprang out of BattleTech, but the BattleTech name hasn't really been used for anything as such. Instead, we've had,
Jesus, this looks pretty good.
You pilot the mechs around in MechWarrior, but it now has its own Kickstarter campaign. BattleTech itself does, and they've got permission to use the models from MechWarrior Online. So
I thought
it's
it
going
looks.
to be
Yeah, I thought that guy that the score. So this is XCOM, but with mechs, basically.
pretty much.
From what I'm seeing on their little
So
concept
I'm going to switch over
screenshot.
to the desktop quickly because they've
blasted
got their
through their goal.
Kickstarter. I could have sworn they had some footage somewhere here.
Yeah, they've got like an intro video. Let me just skip. Yeah, they're talking about making MechWarrior and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't think they have any footage of the game. That it's
No,
just like
I just skipped through and I couldn't
concept
see any,
screens. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that I'm actually quite looking forward to this. BattleTech and MechWarrior weren't a big thing for me. Like, funnily enough, I didn't have anything to do with the '87 board game because I was only born a year earlier than it came out. MechWarrior, I kind of enjoyed, but I'd hardly list it as like one of my all-time favorite franchises. It's one of those things where other people played it and I had a go in it every now and again, and I was like, oh, giant mechs, that's kind of cool. But I really like turn-based stuff, like XCOM style games. So an XCOM style game where you're using mechs set in the future, and it's being made by the guys who made the Shadowrun series, I'm absolutely down for that because from everything I've seen, Shadowrun Returns was supposed to be really good.
That's a game I've got, and I think the expansion as well, Hong Kong something or other.
Yeah,
I never really played it, but I know one of those weird ones which I wanted to play, but then for some reason I just never did. But I've got the game, and I never really. It's like Satellite Rain as well. That's kind of similar, although that's more syndicate-y, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, that's going to be worth keeping an eye on because let's face it, giant mechs and XCOM, they go well together, and
I'd play it.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen so much good stuff about Shadowrun, even though I've not played it myself, that I'm kind of quietly confident that they'll do a really good job with it. So that is all we have for this week's Hotfix, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a little bit, I'd say maybe that, apart from the odd rant, a little bit low-key. Low-key. But then again, there's been no sodding news about anything.
Oh, I've got some news. Deus Ex have just got rid of their stupid pre-order thing.
Oh, the augment your pre-order.
Yeah, that's gone now.
It's fucking
so
stupid.
There you go.
There you go. There's good news to end on. You're getting a new BattleTech game, and there's no augmented pre-order.
This is what they say. When it was first conceived, we wanted the program to give you more choice about what you receive in terms of pre-order incentives.
We failed miserably.
Yeah, despite their good intentions, however, the companies quickly noticed that this approach created even more frustration, and they noted it resulted in more negative feedback. Wow.
I think that's an understatement of the century. They got absolutely hammered from all sides from people going, this is fucking stupid. And they went, no, it's not. Yes, it is. It is. It's really bad.
Really shit.
I'm glad it's gone, though, because if that had gone through, it would have opened up the door for all kinds of nonsense pre-order bullshit. But the fact that it's gone, hopefully will indicate to people that maybe just don't do that kind of thing. That'd be nice. That'd be good. I did see an article about Assassin's Creed Syndicate having crafting in it as well, which I nearly put in, but then those games have had crafting in them for fucking ages anyway.
Isn't that got fucking Sweeney Todd in it and everyone? Like, we was taking the piss the other week.
It's got Jack the Ripper.
Fucking
Sweeney Todd's shop is in there as well. You also run into Charles Dickens.
Run into him, all right, Charlie boy.
You literally run into him and he drops his notes for his book. Which means, because they have this in every single game, that what you'll have to do is they'll be blown around the city.
Yeah.
Because
like I remember the one Franklin, somebody wrote.
I think
the American writer.
Yeah,
I think guy. He's not a writer.
Is it? What is he? 3. I can't remember what it was in Unity. I think there was one in Unity as well. I'm pretty sure in Brotherhood or Revelations, you had to go after Leonardo
Franklin
da Vinci.
Roosevelt's the fucking prime minister, the
prime
president during World War One. He's the guy who died. World War Two. Sorry, he died. What the fuck? Franklin, somebody. Frankie Boyle. I don't know. I'm sorry for butchering your history. Frankie Boyle. No, not him. Don't want to pick his notes up. They'd be quite rude, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Hotfix. If you would like to support us, which we would greatly appreciate, as always, link you up there, link you down there. If you do support us between now and the next Hotfix, then you'll get a shout out at the beginning of the next episode. Come back on Saturday at 2 PM BST for the podcast, because it will be delightful and wondrous, like everything else.
Also, if you have not had a shout out and you should have had one, send me a tweet at Unit Lost Gaming, and I will look into it.
Yeah, we never intentionally miss someone out. It's always down to incompetence.
Just not our incompetence.
Not ours, though. Never ours. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
Toodaloo!